And we're back with a new episode in Bughy Wughy Wonderland. This episode, we're going to build the inside of the cave entrance, applying some really cool arches and stained glass, and also building the main entrance, some ticket booths, some statues, and some cool other things on the inside. If you want to see how this is made and see some really satisfying snap builds, stick around and join me in episode 2 in Bughy Wughy Wonderland. The first thing that I was going to do is remake some of the pathing from the last episode. Now you see that I've got those 3 access points to get into the park. However, I'm replacing these down on different parts in this tunnel, so that there is 3 different entrances. I think I ended up doing 5 different entrances actually. But I wanted this to work in a way where I could make little ticket booths as well between each entrance. So I'm just playing around with the pathing, see what works, and also think about guest flow. If I just have one entrance right there, the guest flow will be terrible and the whole place will be clogged up. People won't be able to leave the park because there's so many people wanting to get inside through this one narrow entrance, being the reason why I split it up and have 3 entrances instead. So here's kind of what I came up with. It looked really cool, but the pathing wasn't symmetrical and I wasn't happy with it. So I changed it to this. 3 entrances, one on the left, one in the middle, one on the right, and 2 places in between for some ticket booths. This would work so much better because what I showed before wouldn't have any room for any ticket booth, so I decided to go with this. Then it was time to play around with some fancy designs on our original pathing that we made in the first episode. Make sure you check it out if you want to see how all of this is made. But I play around with the drawing tool and it's actually quite fun. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but once you get used to it and get a feel for it, it's actually quite cool and you can create these really cool patterns and designs on your pathing. So this is what I made. I then did a little bit of fence building because gotta fence it, right? And then I started working on this next thing. And this next thing is really something artsy. So I was thinking of making a fence, but I wanted it to be some kind of like a design. And I'm not sure if you've ever been to like Europe where it's quite common. Probably in other countries as well, I just haven't seen it. But it's called stained glass. And I thought it would be really cool to have a fence with stained glass window panes. Unfortunately, we don't have windows at the moment as the time of recording this. So I came up with just using basic shapes and it looks really cool. You're gonna have to stick around and watch what I do with this. Because we'll make some incredible designs at the front and the back of the entrance. But that's where I was kind of going with this. I thought I put stained glass in here and make some kind of like fancy, looking window kind of area. Just to fence off the background and blend it all in because it's circular tube, the entrance. So I thought if I built this fence into a circular quarter fashion, it will really work well when you look at it from the outside. So that's what I was going for. Now once I had that installed, it was time to build the arch. And with the arch, it's going from the left to the right. As you can see, those half circle or quarter circles that I made in the previous section, I brought forward as well. And I connect them with this arch that you see here. And I'm using this arch as a guide, like the main entrance. And then I'll use this arch to connect the top arch, the overreaching arch that protects the tunnel from collapsing kind of thing. Connect that with the arch below that I'm building right now. So imagine like a spider web, and then there is cobweb going from left to right, connecting all the parts of the web together. That's kind of what I'm doing here, but in more like a design way. So I'm connecting the bottom arch and the top arch with pieces of wood, and that way I get to create different shapes, like a mosaic kind of thing. And then if you fill them in with different colors, it looks really cool. And that's what I ended up doing here. So yeah, I don't know how I came up with this idea, but I was a little bit inspired by a story when I was a child. I threw a I don't know the English word, but the Dutch word is kastanje. It's like a big seed from a tree, the spiky ones. I threw it through a glas en loodraam, which is stained glass, when I was young. And I was thinking about that story the other day, and I thought, how cool would it be if I make something like that in my park? And it would really make the entrance even more artsy. So that's kind of the story. Then I wasn't quite satisfied with that big hole in the middle. You see the archway, and then there's a big circular part above it. I wasn't quite happy with that, and if I were to stain this with like stained glass, it would have been one big shape in the middle, and I didn't want that. So I decided to put in a little bit more patterns and filling in all the bits and pieces with some of these colors. Which was quite tricky because it's kind of like painting between the lines and then working with different sizes and making sure it all fits. So I had to work with like the smallest size possible so that it's all blending in well together. But as you see, it's a little bit of a painful process on getting all these colors filled in between the lines. So I'm not gonna waste any of your time. Let's jump ahead and fill in these shapes. Also, I changed the colors to orange and yellow from the start. That one was quite satisfying, I have to say. Then I spent a little bit of time on making the whole thing waterproof, or like closing all the holes and the gaps between the rocks and the arches. So I'm using a variety of like bushes, like the biggest size I could think of. You just place a bush down, use the rescale tool and make it to the biggest size possible. And then also in between the rocks at the top, place down some bushes. It was really easy, but to make it all blend in, I blended in with a couple more rocks so that it doesn't look like a square patch of leaves. I did that both for the front and the back. Just to make sure that it's all nice and enclosed and cozy. If you think what a strange angle, this is the top-down view of the park so far. It's just so much easier to see what I've actually done from this angle. Then I spent a little bit more time on detailing the entrance on the left and the right side. In these little corners, all little crevices, I've placed down some plants, making sure that it all looks nice and incorporated. I don't like empty grassy bits, so everything needs to be filled up with plants or rocks or something like that. So that's what I'm doing here. After I've done that, I started building a little bit more on this archway. And like I said before, I wasn't quite happy with the way there was a big empty hole in the middle. So I wanted to fill it in with another shape, which you can see here. I'm working on adding some kind of gem in the middle. So I was talking to Mrs. Boog, and she said, "Oh, Boog, maybe you can place down a cool figure in the middle, or maybe a gem or something." And that got me an idea on how to add an extra piece of stained glass in the middle. So that's what I'm doing here, making a little holder for this piece of stained glass. And it worked out really cool. Very happy with it. After having done that, I spent a little bit more time on these front patches again. I still wasn't quite happy with what it was looking, so I used some flower beds, placed down some beautiful gorgeous flowers, changed them into the colors of the arch, the blue and the orange and the yellowish look, and just put them in from there. It brings everything together so much better, both on the left and the right. I then stole some of these blue wave looking shapes from the top archway that's overreaching the actual archway of the entrance. You know, the ones where the signs are from with the words. And then I just put them inside the arches on the inside like this. And it makes it all look so much better.
Nice.
Then I spent a little bit more time on placing down some more fences, because I wanted to make a garden here on the left and the right side. So I put fences down to the left and the right, and some more of those gateways, those ones, on the left and the right as well. It's coming together so nicely, and it was now time to set up the ticket booths to make for people to pay their tickets for the entrance of the park. So I had an idea of having a booth on the left and the right, and I wanted the entrance to be some kind of like a unique structure that you like instantly recognize. That was kind of the idea I was going for, but I at this point didn't really know what exactly it was going to look like, and I just played around with some of the wall shapes, and then I ended up finding out that these curved walls can go double like here, and it's already looking pretty cool. I could make it fully circular, so I just brought the walls into the shop like that. But you don't actually see them in the shop once you look at it. Then I placed down an archway, and this archway I brought over to the left and the right as well. And then I extended some of the walls. As you can see here, put the walls down, making sure that it all looks incorporated and not like patchy. So that's looking very nice so far. Looking like a great entrance area so far. The next thing I did was place down some columns. And I wanted these columns to just corner off those like sharp corners that you can see in the build. I often do this thing where I place down walls and every corner I put down a column or something like that. Don't really need to, I just think it adds a little bit of extra detail to the building. So yeah, this is what we had so far. I obviously didn't want it to just be one layered, like one level high or 1 meter high. I wanted to have it to have double layers or like triple layers, so 3 different layers, and I had envisioned to incorporate a decent amount of greenery. So I wanted to make these big planters on top of the entrance area, and that's kind of what I'm trying to make here, or at least come up with an idea of how to make these planting pots. So I put on 1 layer, and then I put on the next layer later on, and this is what it ended up look like. It's starting to come together already quite nicely. I put on the floor, or the top floor, or the ceiling. Top floor. Idiot. Anyway, I put on the ceiling, changed the colors to like different styles. I was just looking at what I liked color wise. I went for this yellow, but I'm pretty sure I changed it later on because it's not actually that pretty. But you end up not seeing it. Then I put on these really cool looking columns on the top of the sides. And then I just dragged them over obviously to the other side. And looking very nice. Obviously I have to theme the front and the back. So whatever I do with the front, I end up building in the back as well. So it's just a matter of copying it, then rotating it, and then pasting it down. I placed a couple of these wooden beams on the sides as well, so that it makes the colors just blend in a little bit more instead of going from bright yellow to that beigey looking color. So I do that obviously for the front and back. Then I wanted to install this fence line at the top, just above, just so that it looks a little bit cooler, because currently there's nothing there and having a flat surface there just doesn't look very nice. And this fence brings it all a little bit more together. It really gives a little bit of like theme park vibes. That's kind of what I was going for, just incorporating it. Then these empty gaps between these circles on the top of the ticket booth, I filled in with dirt because I wanted plants to come out of here. And I thought it would be really cool if I get some kind of plants to bring the whole building together, instead of having just stone and it just looking like an architecture. I always like to incorporate plants with my builds. I just think that's such a cool style, and I'm really liking that style. So here you see me copying it and obviously rotate it and pasting it down. Why work harder if you can work smarter? It's so much easier this way. Then it was time to spend a bit of time on incorporating the shops with the building. So I played around a little bit with different shop covers. So I'm using this, I think it's a Viking top side, like a little canopy. And then a more vanilla looking front. The wooden part, that's blue. I changed the color later because I didn't like it. But it makes it all look much better and blends the shop into with the building. I didn't spend too much time on theming these, but in all reality it didn't really need to have a lot of theming, because the whole purpose of this is just to sell tickets for the park. But I still thought it would be nice to have it incorporated nicely with the rest of the building. After that I placed down some of those trims from the front, from the outside, from episode 1. I brought them back inside. I put some of these trims down and it just looked really cool. Unfortunately there's no such thing as those curved trims, otherwise I would have put them down on those like curved angles. But I found later on a cool way on covering these up as well. And I really wanted this entrance to be a little bit of like a vanilla style, like old Roller Coaster Tycoon style. And statues are just a big part of that game. In my opinion, I always place those statues down. So to give it a little bit of like a natural look, I put down some pillars, one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right. And I placed down some statues on it that I found. These are really cool statues, by the way, and they work really well with the theme that I'm going for. The more like non-themed, the vanilla theme. So yeah, this is what it ended up like looking like. It's looking so good, but there was still a little bit to do, a little bit of work. So I put these ticket signs up, and other than that I spent a little bit more time on adding some more details. Just little fine minor details, so nothing crazy, but I'm all about the details, as you probably have realized by now. So I also spend a little bit more time on putting some more plants that grow up to the sides of the walls, and some flowers and some fences. So this is what we ended up with. First the front side. And then also the back. Then it was time to place down some lights. So in the dark currently I've got no lighting whatsoever. And I found these really cool flower looking lights. And if you sink them in, It just looks like flowers that are just grown from the sides. These are the ones that are on a pole, but I actually ended up finding the ones that don't have a pole attached to them. So I just used those as well. But I changed them to a slightly bluish looking light, which just works out really well with the blue that's already in the ceiling. So I placed these flowers down all over the ceiling and the sides. So when you enter in the dark, it's actually really looking cool. It looks like a sky full of stars. Coldplay reference right there. So yeah, after placing down the flowers, this is what it looks like. Then there was only one more thing left to do, and that is filling these little squares both on the left and the right. And I decided to go with the golden queen splash, or splash queen splash, and king coaster. And I just made a little like cute garden with flowers. So I just put them on the little bush, like they're standing on the raised compared to the rest of the flower bed. And then I just put some flowers in behind, some taller looking flowers, in this case bamboo, and some flowers around it. Quite nice looking. So here is what it looks like. And there we have it, the end result after spending some time building the entrance, the inside of the entrance and these archways. And it's looking really cool. I'm so happy the way this turned out. Look at this stained glass looking archway with the guy holding the child up statue in the back. So cool. Let's look at that from a little bit closer by. I had a blast making that archway, but also I really like these floor patterns that we made. The little bubbly looking things, they are quite satisfying to have on the pathing instead of it being just empty, you know, tiles and pathing and stuff. But look at this perspective. That is quite something special. You can see a little bit of the basic shapes, but I tried to blend it all in, but it didn't really work. So I think it has something to do with the shadows in this game. I reckon if you turn the shadows off, it won't be that obvious. But like the orange and the yellow are a little bit better. Some of these cool looking trees with flowers on it. Lots of flowers here. And then once you enter, got to the right here, you've got King Coaster. And on the left here, you've got Queen Splash. And a variety of flowers to blend it all in together. I guess I could put some flowers on this little section here as well. And then you've got these really cool flowers with the blue wavy looking patterns all over the ceiling, which is cool. I guess I could also still implement some vines growing all the way through. That will bring it all together as well. And then we've got our ticket booths, one on the left and on the right. And I don't know what this guy is doing, but what are you doing? Why are you looking at me like that? He's a bit creepy, if you ask me. Go to work! Go to work! No? Okay, sure. This lady is happily working, right? Yeah, I love my work. It's so nice working for... Yeah! So nice for working $2 an hour. That's right. Don't get anything else. I mean, we have no attractions yet, so I can't really give you any money. So I've got 3 entrances. And then we've got these cool looking statues all over the top. And there's a few. I really like this statue, and I like that it's like my centerpiece. And these like 3 different leveled towers with plants coming from it from the side, which is really nice. And on the back here as well, this is kind of the back. Looks similar to the front. Nothing interesting really, but the attention should all be at the front in my opinion. Maybe I could put like a goodbye sign up or something. And then again, these blob patterns on the floor. It just looks so cool. Put some more plants here. Obviously, we still have a lot to do. This is the back side, so I copied it, dragged it all the way to the back, so that it's there as well. Let's float around a little bit. And so obviously, like, if you want to see how all of this is made, and these statues, check out the first episode. And yeah, I'm so happy with the way this turned out. There's really not really a theme to it, which is what I wanted to go for. I wanted it to be more of a neutral theme, but nature obviously dominating throughout my builds, and always has, because that's just my strong side, and I love building natural looking things. I'm very happy with this entrance. This is the back side. Obviously there's a whole park to build, but in the grand scheme of things, look how small this actually is. I mean, we spent a whole episode building inside here, but there's so much built inside. So this was pretty much the first episode building this, and this is the second episode, and in the next episode we're gonna start building the square. And I've already done a little bit of work, it's already recorded, but that's not for this video, that will be for the next one. So if you want to see how we continue this beautiful looking park, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Obviously leave me a comment or something and tell me what you think about the park. If you have any ideas what I should and should not be building. This park does not have a theme, like I said. I'll build whatever I feel like building. But I've got some cool ideas already, and I've read some of your comments, and there's some really cool suggestions in there of things that I could build. Someone said a fire tower, or like an outlook tower, which I think I might build just behind here, or something there, or like in the background somewhere here behind this tree, something. Just an eye catcher for the entrance, which I think will be really cool. We might work on that in the next episode, but something to look forward to. So thank you all for watching. Really appreciate all your comments and subscriptions and all that sort of good stuff. I hope you all have the best day. I'm looking forward to continuing this, and I'm sure you guys will look forward to what I've got in store for the next episode. So I'll see you all later. Have the best day and take care, and goodbye.